I am taking another look at the FIRE movement, and here are 5 reasons why. So to be fully transparent, I gotta admit that a lot of this involved getting over my pride, and that's never an easy thing to do, especially for me. I'm someone that I don't feel like I always need to be right, but it's tough to face the fact that you have not been doing things the best way. And I gotta admit, and I gotta face the fact that if I want to be somewhere different a year from now, then I have to start doing different things. I have to start listening to different people. I have to start reading different books. I have to start consuming different content. And that's just kind of the premise of this whole thing, and my revisiting the FIRE movement and taking a closer look at it. So my number one reason for revisiting the FIRE movement is because I want to learn from people who are where I want to be. And I just realized that financial independence is my ultimate goal, and the faster I can get there, the better. So if you want to be somewhere, you got to learn from people who are doing it. That's the only way you can do it. You don't learn from, don't take advice from broke people is a common saying that we hear around the personal finance community, but it's so true. You got to take advice from people who are where you want to be and who are achieving success, right? So that's step number one. And I think for me, a lot of that is having the humility to admit that my way is the slow way, and my way has not been super successful. It's fine the way that I've been doing things, which is kind of a mix of Dave Ramsey, a mix of this, a mix of that, splurging when I feel like it, not being accountable when I don't feel like it. So I mean, that's okay, but it's not going to get me the results that I want as fast as I want them. So number one is just realizing that I want to learn from people who are where I want to be. And I have to say also, going to meetups and meeting people in person has been huge. So knowing that there are those people who have achieved it and that it's possible, like meeting these people in the flesh, has been a huge motivator. So again, I want to learn from people who are where I want to be. Reason number 2 is I want to meet more people who earn more than I do. And I know that sounds really kind of materialistic, but it's not. And here's why. I refer to point number 1, saying you learn from people who are where you want to be. But I also refer to something that I've heard and I've repeated a lot, is that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time around. And that is so true too. And it's tough because, I don't know about your friend groups, and if you look at your text message history, who do you text the most? And for me, like my mom, my sister, my best friend from childhood, and some other friends I've met along the way. And looking back on that, I realized that I've really cultivated the friendships that mean the most to me with that idea in mind. So I first heard that saying, you are the average of the 5 people that you interact with the most. I heard that maybe 8-10 years ago. And I always kind of bared that in mind, because you become the attitudes that you're surrounded by. And as much as you try not to, they just kind of seep into you and they become part of who you are. So I want to make a point to hang out with people who have winner mindsets, for people who take accountability for where they are and who are determined to do the best with what they have, to make things grow, and to come at the world with an attitude of service, humility, and increase. And that's the attitude that I want to adopt. And I realize that a lot of those people hang out in the FIRE community. So at least the interactions that I've had in person have been positive. Online, maybe questionable, neutral to questionable. So I want to hang around with people who are where I want to be. And that includes people who are either radically saving and people who are earning a lot and saving even more. So that's reason number 2. Reason number 3 is I am determined to give hope another chance. But what this is I'm realizing the power of aggregate gains. So let me say that again. Reason number 3 is the power of aggregate gains. So I've been reading this book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Give me a thumbs up if you know about that book or if you've heard of that. And it's one of those books that goes around. I believe it's on the bestseller list for either this year or last year. Fabulous book. So the story is the author, James Clear, got hit in the face with a baseball bat in high school, and he basically had to relearn how to live. And it also sounds like, he doesn't say this, but it sounds like he got a renewed sense of the value of life, having to relearn it. And he taught himself as a teenager these habits, and he would do little things like go to bed early, study on the weekends, keeping his room clean, being tidy. And he made a point to do each of those habits. And they were just little teeny tiny things that gradually over the course of his life completely shifted the trajectory of where he ended up. And that was such a powerful image. And there's so many other illustrations in the book that I'm hoping to bring in as well. But I just realized the power of those little teeny tiny savings. And this also goes back to the idea of compound interest, which is something I think that the FIRE community does a great job of putting out, as well as radical savings. Again, in that, I've mentioned before, I'm not super into that as much. I may become so, like, just watch over the course of this year how radical I become. But I am into the power of every little penny adds up. Things add up over time, whether that's increasing your income or savings or doing both. I feel like those aggregate or those smaller gains add up over time, and I'm determined to maximize and to capitalize that. And I believe that rather than being kind of hopeless in the direction that life has taken, or the setbacks that have been thrown at you. I know I've mentioned before my housing situation, and how that my housing cost skyrocketed 4 years ago. I am determined to believe that every little positive step adds up as well and puts you in a better place. So I'm determined not to let setbacks get me down, but to be encouraged by aggregate gains. Reason number 4 is that I just want to level up my life. I have been in this sort of like medium range, surviving but just barely situation, and I want to take radical steps toward financial freedom over the course of this year. I am determined to do that. That's something that I am pushing toward this year, and something that I'm aiming for and aiming to give to develop steps in getting that way. So that's reason number 4. And number 5 is that I want to again interact more with the community and create a path for people who are in this similar position as well. I feel like I'm not alone, and I know that there are people in this situation as well, and I want to be in a better place at the end of this year, and just to head in a different direction. I want to create content that serves the community. I want to be of service, and to, rather than giving into my obstacles, I want to attack them and to make a plan and stick with that plan. The missing element is getting through that block rather than giving in to it. So let me give you an example of how this shows itself in my everyday life. I use my Filofax wallet, and this is my cash wallet system that I just started using in October, or that I went back to using in October, because way back in 2015 I did used to use all cash, and I went back to that and I saw a huge difference. So this is one thing that I'm using as sort of a physical, tangible reminder of putting myself on a different path in life. And I have a video on what's inside this wallet. So if you're interested in how I use this wallet to along my FIRE journey, check out that video as well. So this is how that shows itself. For example, in the area of food and groceries. I just got these new dividers from Mama's Got a Budget. They're phenomenal and I like them a lot. But I use all cash to buy my groceries. And this is something, again, that I just started in October, and it's been huge because I've seen my grocery costs go from double. My grocery budget is, it's right in line with the USDA recommended allowance, as my set grocery budget of $200 a month. The month before, in September, I had doubled that. I came in at like $390. So it was almost double my budget. For the month of October, I stuck with all cash, and I came in right, I think it was at $206 for what I spent on groceries. And that was my birth month too, my birthday month. So I did really well for it being a celebration month. Overall, I've seen a drastic reduction. I'm talking 30 to 40% reduction in spending when I use cash. So that's me. But I am determined. See, this is how I grocery shop. I look at the money that I have left for the month, and I use that and I plan accordingly. That's how I plan my grocery shopping now. And it makes sense. And I have a whole bunch of receipts for my grocery shopping. So again, check out that video if you want to see what's in my wallet. I love watching these. I love being nosy. So that's why I like making them. So that is a way that FIRE is sort of manifested in my life. This idea of financial independence is manifesting because I am using this wallet to get myself closer to financial independence and ultimate financial freedom. That's where we're headed. So these are my reasons for giving the FIRE community another look, for checking out FIRE. If you would like to see more about that, please check out these other videos. If you haven't seen it already, I have a video on how I got burned by the FIRE community the first time. So I will link that, as well as my Mr. Money Mustache case study story, which is a good one if you're interested. I mean, good for you to watch, very entertaining, not so much for me to experience. It was a little tough, but check it out either way. It's a fun watch. I hope I'm using. So thank you for watching, and I hope you'll keep watching. Bye.